Hello YouTube, it's Team Negging here, bringing you a discussion on the state of the game, which is something we've been holding back a while, but alas, we finally got round to it. So, Aaron, take it away with your...
I want to start things off with basically doing a recap of the year. So, at the start of the year, we still had Legion. Stride hadn't been introduced yet.
Things were good.
Apart from Harmonics, which technically wasn't legal until like mid-January or something. But, just looking back, Legion, big focus, everyone was like, Legion this, Legion that, blah blah blah. Obviously there were very strong effects, Regalia being one of them, Revengers being another, the Cross being another.
No, it was the Great, man. Screw the Cross.
I like how you skip over things over. Yeah, the oldies were alright.
I hate Thing Saver with a passion.
But it was a thing, so...
It was.
Ha 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 ha. The main thing I want to bring up about this though is that during Legion format, I never saw anyone once intentionally misride.
I think that's moving on a little bit. It's more, I think it emphasises the prolonging of the game because of triggers and things. And in relation to what's happened now, is it's shortened the game and thus promoted the Grade 2 being holded back.
It's going a bit far ahead, but...
So it was basically like your game you had in France where it went on for about what felt like 40 minutes. Because you basically went, I Legion all heals back. I always trigger heals. My opponent, I Legion all heals back. I trigger all heals.
But the excitement in that game was huge because it went on for so long and it was so tight. Like, you had no idea who was going to win because there was just triggers going off here and there. The deck was getting thinner. It was getting more exciting as the game went on. And that's what Legion was.
You're compressing the deck. You're compressing the deck.
I was compressing the deck with just triggers. It was insane.
Yeah, but you were doing what Musketeers was basically trying to do without Legion. The whole point of Musketeers was just thin the deck, get stuff. Oh look, it's a deck full of triggers. Look at me go. But you just doing that with Legion.
Tangenting now, but carrying on. It was about end of January-ish that I think we got Stride legally. And then that's where things started to take a turn. Because people dropped Legion altogether because it was too slow. Didn't have time to Legion because you always wanted to Stride. And then about halfway through the year, people started to clock on that I don't want my opponent to Stride at all, or first mainly. So people stuck to Grade 2, intentionally misrode.
Delayed for turns or two.
Delayed for as many turns as they can to force the opponent to ride so they can get the advantage of striding first. Because you had things like Saint No coming out, which meant, well, that's game. Or Favas, what's his name? Lambroke coming out, that's game.
Yep, but it's the second strike.
Yeah, but that's the whole point was, the game came to a point of, if you stride second, you basically won. But by striding second...
You mean striding first? Or getting
getting your second stride first.
There you go.
But by doing that, that's like what, your second turn on Grade 3?
Yeah.
So the game is literally ride. And as people was at the start, it was ride Grade 1, ride Grade 2, ride Grade 3, if you were in second sort of way.
Yeah.
So it's ride Grade 3, stride. So that's 4 turns you have basically in the game. And then the game was over because it was just attack, giant number, can you guard? No. Bye. And the games were so quick because it was just big numbers, big crits, big this, big that. And you're there going, I can't do it. The game hasn't gone on long enough for me to find my outs.
Which relates to the progression of the game, really, because they've not only have they increased the amount of pressure on the Vanguard, it's come specifically from the amount of power. And the only way to stop that in this game is with a perfect guard. So, as you says, the game hasn't gone long enough to find it. So it's become more of a, do you have a perfect guard or I'm going to win because you can't guard this. You don't have no guarding the Vanguard. The Vanguard will always be hitting unless you can drop a perfect guard. And then you'll get the occasional game which you're doing really well in, which you go and they go stride and you go, I haven't got a perfect guard, drop my entire hand. 1 to pass, because that's just all I've got. Like 5-5, 10-10, 5-5.
It gets even worse when you get things like Saint No or I can't remember your DP one.
Which one? X-Falcon, X-Tiger, X something.
Probably X-Tiger, I think that's the one. That just gain power for stupid reasons and it becomes even bigger than 31, which is already big enough. Going to 46 or whatever.
Yeah, so it just becomes an insane number which is just no guard. And on top of the fact that things are coming out which you can't even guard with perfect guards. So it's just... So the one thing you can guard with, just you're not guarding this.
Yeah.
So the game's becoming more restricting and powerful to the point where it's completely out of your control. There's becoming less skill in the striding format because of it.
But that's why people halfway through a year to 3/4 way through a year were starting to go, hang on, maybe I just stay on grade 2 for this turn. Because I know how strong it is if I can stride first. Maybe I can force my opponent into that situation. And that's where the advantage was coming of. Because before it was, I go first, sweet.
You get grade 3 first, you get the double drive check first. That's great, I've got an advantage.
Then it came down to, you have double drive check first, but I'm going second, so therefore I have stride first. So you basically just go, I don't want that, I'm going to stay in grade 2.
Yeah.
I'll skip that.
It's like
double drive check.
It's like they thought that it will balance it out, because you get double, I get triple. It's like, that'll balance it out.
But it's like a triple and the extra power.
It should have been, I've always said this, that it should have been a discard a card, I still get a double drive check, but it's more power, or it's a triple drive check with the same amount of power, it doesn't gain the soul.
I agree with that one.
So, either way, they also shouldn't have introduced the second stride, because again, it would defeat the point of who's going to stride first, because it doesn't matter, because you only have that one first turn stride, regardless. There's no second stupidity of power, of finisher.
No, I think that would honestly fix it. If they just took away the power of the heart, and it was just the 15 on the card plus the boosts, then it's fine, because it's weaker than Legion, so you still have a reason to Legion, because it's more powerful. But you're striding because you want the extra drive check, or you want the effect and whatever. I think that would personally balance the game out, because you can still potentially guard the first stride, which most of the times you can't.
But then doesn't that go around to, you get the GB stuff? Because introducing GB, everyone's a bit like, everything has to be GB.
And that's another problem I have with the game.
And that's kind of what they screwed over with Gear Chronicle was, they brought this out with Stride. So that deck is pretty much purely GB focused. So if you have a stall game on grade 2, you can't do anything. So when decks were pushing towards, I have to use this GB1 stuff, this GB1, this GB1.
So as soon as I stride, it becomes explosive.
Yeah, so the stall out game was, I'm basically running vanilla 9 and 7Ks. That makes no sense.
To the point where I stride, then it's just everything's active.
Yeah.
And I do some really broken stuff because it's restricted on GB. Which just emphasises that point. It doesn't.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, so if the game, so your deck was, so decks you saw at the start all GB focused, then gradually throughout half and 3/4 it was starting to be a bit, well, I'll put in some of this stuff which works before GB, and then annoyingly towards the end you see decks which are almost all GB focused again, because it just sort of that sort of recurring loop of, I'll just ride anyway, I'll just risk it, hope they don't do it, and then I can explode.
Depends on the deck though, because we'll get onto it later. It's fine.
I mean,
it's on our list, we'll get onto it later.
We've kind of covered the Perfect Guards a little bit.
We haven't touched that at all.
We haven't touched that at all. I don't know where you've got that idea from.
Well, earlier we said
was the only out was a perfect guard, but then some cards don't have that perfect guard. You mentioned nothing on the fact that they introduced new perfect guards, which all they could do was stop the Vanguard. Yeah. So earlier on in the year,
but you get an extra effect.
But yeah, well, if you've got one in the drop zone.
My argument for that is the game doesn't go on long enough to have it, so what's the point?
But
and secondly, you're running a risk.
Yeah.
But my argument would then be there's no risk anymore.
There is.
The risk at the start was X and DP with Laurel could just go swing at Vanguard. I get to restand, or I get to restand, because your perfect guard only stops the Vanguard, so I can abuse this.
There's probably something else we're missing, but...
And then I attack your Vanguard. Oh, you perfect guarded? Fine. But if I was in Stride, I just got 6 cards for that.
Yeah.
And negged you a booster. Or an attacking unit. Because you're not going to guard that, because unless you've got the perfect guard which can guard it. In which case, you're doing that on the Vanguard anyway. Makes no difference. And then it comes into the whole, if it was the X, which was why it was so annoying, was I attack. Well, I've attacked your rear guard, negged you that one. I attack your Vanguard, you perfect guard it. I ditch the X, negged you 2 more. So I just negged you 3 and the 2 from your hand, because I felt like it, basically. Because you ran the wrong perfect guard to start with.
But what I want to say is that both those decks aren't appearing anymore, or not as much as they were.
Wow.
I know.
We'll get to that.
Giant elephant in the room of Nationals, but that's not the point.
We'll get to that, but do you want me to move on to the next point? Because it kind of flows on quite well after what you just said.
the issue was, for new players into the game, it's very hard to find the old perfect guards, which can guard anything. And that's why I assume with more people trying to come into the game, with all this stride stuff, you see a lot of people with those perfect guards of I can only guard the Vanguard. Because maybe they don't have access to the old stuff.
I do want to kind of interrupt. It depends on what kind of deck you're making. If you're making a named focus deck, then yeah, it's kind of hard to get a hold of them. Other than that, they're in the trial decks for most.
But it's even if you try and get cards.
Royals, Neo Nectar, Gear Chronicle have normal ones in there. What else is there?
Even
Pale Moon will get one, Grand Blue will get one.
Even clan specific ones like Beast Deities or something like that require this special counterblasting things. They're old.
Yeah.
But
I'm not saying all of them are hard to get a hold of. I'm saying, I did say the named ones are hard to get a hold of.
Named ones
I was trying to add to it.
But say like I want to run Spikes. I know no one does, but it's a clan on top of my head. Or I want to run Narukami. Where are you going to find those perfect cards?
Yeah.
You're not. So you have to go into the whole, I need to run Royals because it's the easiest perfect cards to get. I need to run Gears, it's the easiest perfect card to get.
They're reprinting some of them though, aren't they, occasionally?
No.
Not anymore.
That's the thing, in Aquas, for example.
That's not a reprint.
Well, it's still access to a perfect card of sorts.
It's a brand new perfect card that randomly can boost and bounce to your hand.
And it cards anything, you said, didn't it?
Huh?
Cards anything, didn't it?
As long as you have a boost on Vanguard.
Okay. But, yeah. But, I mean, Can I move on?
Yeah, but...
Okay, so, based on following up on Yuri's discussion on the X there, it follows on quite well to the concept which I've spoken at length to Aaron about, which I can now speak to length to Yuri about a bit. Is plussing better than negging? Me and Aaron would now argue that plussing is far better than negging. Now, Yuri is already under the impression that negging's better, so, Yuri, I'm going to try and convince you.
Can I just put forward my case beforehand?
Okay.
None of my decks plus, bar Laurel with DP, so, of course, negging, for me, has always been better, because if you can neg me, I got no way of getting that back.
Pretty much.
I don't run stupid Royals.
Exactly.
You have that stupid Narukami card.
If it hits.
Yeah.
I mean, as opposed to, I call a unit, I plus, why not? I have to, I hit.
But
wait, you can go.
That's the point. If you think about the concept of what plussing is, so I drop, say, let's take Sword Me as an example. Typical. Like, you drop Sword Me, counts +1 to +1. I'm swinging you, that is now a 10k shield.
Yeah.
So it's an extra 5k shield than I would normally have done just attacking you without a boost.
Yeah.
Even if I neg you that card on the other side, for the same thing, I've gone call, counterblast, neg, attack, it's a 5k shield. I have to drop a booster, which I could have used on the other side, for example, with a 10k swinger or something. So that stupidity of it early mid-game is ridiculous. Until I get a full field, plussing is always better than negging. And if you think about the lack of impact that negging has as well, to take the 8k in Royals, for example, you call it, counter +1, call the 6k, soul +1, draw. That is a +2. You imagine me having a card, call, counterblast, neg you a card, soul blast, discard a card. For one card is insane. There's nothing that's the equivalent of that. And also, what annoys me most is Kagero should be the retirement deck, and they retire the freaking least. Everything else retires just as much as they do, with Royals and Shadows out there. They do more retiring than me.
Well, I think that's where it comes into it, is plussing and negging. The plus is almost, in some cases you look at it as whatever you plus, you just add 1 to that. So if you're to neg that, whatever they plus, you need to neg like 1 extra. So yeah, they go, I +1 to the field, that's 10k. So it's like, well, I need 1 card now which can neg 2 to the field.
An easier
nothing can really do that.
An easier way to look at it is, I plus a card and get to use it immediately.
Yeah.
Because I'm using it immediately, I'm getting a bonus from that.
On top of that is deck thinning, so you might get trigger.
That's very minor.
It's not minor, it's
minor.
freaking annoying.
Well, you say it's minor, but it's the whole, with the Sormy example, I have a column. You retire Sormy. I can either move that card up and it's still an annoyance, or I place another card in front of it. So again, it's still got that column power. Whereas to remove that card, I've either had to swing, so use an attack on it,
Does this relate to deck thinning?
No, because the deck... That's the whole plus of negging. The deck thinning is the whole... It's a card out of the deck, which normally would be from your hand.
Yeah, I know.
And deck thinning is always beneficial. Even if it's by 1, that's 1 less chance to get that in a drive check.
No, I understand that. Just thinking about it, Mike, I think it shouldn't be plussing is better than negging. I think it's just recruiting is too powerful. Because if you consider plussing as drawing a card as well...
I guess so.
I don't know, Oracles seem able to plus and then just hit crits, so...
Well, that becomes to the deck's concept that we've done before, which is you just chuck 12 crits in a
I'm just saying,
deck.
if you consider drawing a card, well, unless you use that immediately, you're not benefiting from it. So if they still neg you, then it's still 1 for 1, it's still pretty even. It's only because recruiting you get to use it immediately that it makes a difference.
Especially if it's hitting numbers like 19 on your 9, which is a 15 card, like we've experienced before, which is just insane with a 12-way swinger, for example. It's just retarded, because you can't guard that much pressure early game, which just goes back to the whole grade 2 sustainability, and any deck which currently tops majoritively has a grade 2 which is stupidly overpowerful, which maintains that grade 2 presence so they can carry on. So I guess if you think Shadows, Cat 1 just neg something, you got the Sword Me and Royals.
Cat 1 I neg, it's just doing the same bits to that.
Yeah, but I guess that's why they were able to, until people start clocking on at least, they can at least do something. I mean, we've worked out potential counters to it, like a 10k vanilla ride stops a rush, there's little things like that.
Pony stops a rush.
Pony stops a rush, bloody pony.
Right, but when you say the rush, you're talking about the niggly rush.
The grade 2 presence on the field, like a full field, yeah.
Yeah, so you're talking about the niggly rush. So basically, it's the whole, we've worked out how to counter aquas.
It's not even...
Because it doesn't stop, and it really annoys me, it doesn't stop Royals.
It doesn't, no.
And everyone goes, oh, but no, it doesn't, because you've got a fucking column. So you're hitting over the 16.
I'm not beeping it out, I can't be bothered.
I know, you got it.
So you're hitting over that 16. So it's, oh, I'm 10k, awesome. Oh yeah, well this 9 from my hand would be rubbish, except for it's a recruiter, so therefore I can hit over your 16 and laugh at you.
Exactly. So
You can still tenno past the Vanguard.
which is why I'm with the 10k vanilla nice thing. But with Royals, I just after all,
you can't cut that.
I mean, it's relating to.
Yeah, but it's better than taking the crit and then having to take that as well.
And that's also providing you've got a 10 in hand.
I think following on from this would be either going to your point, Aaron, of over-supported clans. Now,
Yeah.
I'm surprised you made the point considering you have them, but it's because you've also got decks that are under-supported, so you can compare.
It's got like one deck, which is
Then me and Yuri is like Royals. Royals should be topping everywhere. By the way, there's no way Royals are not. They're like the hardest deck I've ever faced, and they're so ridiculous.
It's actually kind of leads onto a sub point I've just thought about.
Okay, go on.
So you've got the Royals, which are obviously over-supported.
Just tad.
Shadows are over-supported as well. Getting more, obviously, with strides and stuff. Golds. Golds are over-supported because they have so many bloody cards. But at the same time, their stride stuff was crap.
it is.
It is actually crap.
I mean, it's related. I guess on the support clans, yeah. So in relating to that, yeah. So strides for some clans are useless. You've got, again, compared to Royals, I think is an easy example to go back to. You've got, I potentially, I'm not saying definitely, 12k to the field because you've got 4 grade 1s.
Normally 9k.
But
Put it that way. Almost consistently, I can add 9k to my front row.
It's just, as a first stride, it's just, I'm not guarding this.
Yeah.
You get a crit in your triple drive check, which is quite likely. I'm going a 4 or 5 straight away.
But things like Royals and to an extent Shadows are over-supported in both sections. Golds, I would say, are over-supported in terms of just general units, mainly Liberators, but their stride support was pretty naff.
Which means
Then you can flip that and go to something like Angles, where their stride stuff is pretty dumb, but the problem is there's no grade 2 presence to kind of beef the deck up early game.
Ponies.
So decks.
But that's it, you've got a pony on a ride, but then you're doing nothing on the rear guards. You're still literally just going ride, swing, and hope they ride grade 3 so you can go ride stride.
You ride grade 3, you don't care. The whole point is you have the option to hope to talk the perfect card to your hand. You have the option of, okay, you get
Yeah, but a
first.
lot of that is only GB, unless you stick with Celestials, which then means you can't use a lot of the GB stuff because it doesn't go with the deck. Because you need Celestial Vanguard, and Gabriel's not.
But this comes down to the format at the moment, is everyone just seems to just have ignored the whole I can say on grade 2 and just gone, I'll risk going to Stride. Which is why we don't understand how Royals are topping, but I think it's just...
Yeah, Royals top. I know Royals are topping.
No, why they... As in, why isn't everyone using them? It's either they don't have them, or it's the, like... Okay, so we'll use the examples of Continentals. You go to America, it was like split almost evenly, but I think it was like half were Royals or Shadows, and then it was Royals, Shadows, and DP. But it's still majoritively one or two Paladins. You come over to like European Continentals, different clan, each one, and then it was like, okay, it's just won the day.
If you can remember our Manchester tournament, the amount of decks we saw were completely varied.
I think it's several here that people are just confused and they think that anything can win.
Bear in mind,
it shouldn't.
Again, it comes down to old cards are harder to get a hold of. Sword Me's especially.
Yep.
That's because
they just jumped in price and people can't get them. That's why people aren't running Royals, because they can't get Sword Me, and without Sword Me the deck falls apart. To an extent.
To an extent. It really does. If you go against Royals and you have a Sword Me in hand, play a game where you don't actually call it. Or don't use its effect. See how well you do.
Yeah. There'll be someone's comment going, I did really well. Well, that's obviously just because either you were lucky.
How consistently do you do well without going, Sword Me, lol?
Yeah. Well, there's the 8k now, which is, I think, it's just as stupid, but
it's that point of, I know majority will win, but it's because the deck is generally the strongest.
It's not only because of its grade 2 presence, but also because of the stride are just stupid. And you've got a second stride of say no of a giant number and a crit, or just continue the stupidity of smashing your opponent.
But this is what it comes down to. The options Royals have for Stride is a lot more than most other clans. You have the option, I can go Set No. You have the option, I can go Atma if I feel like it. I have the Sanctuary Gut stuff. I even have a Counterblast to give you a damage if you're on 4, which I could feel like doing. They have so many options, and that can be their first Stride, which is annoying, because if you play the Grade 2 stall game, then you go Ride Stride, because you force them to ride, they're on 4, Counterblast 2, you're now on 5.
Yep.
Because I felt like it. The options given to them...
It's entirely based...
...are so much more, and that's why, again, it's the oversupported, unsupported clans. Their options, as opposed to... So Kagro have basically, 3 options you can use Stride... Which you would actually use?
Yeah, would actually use. I mean, I use the Counterblast 1, flip 1 up, neg 1. That's all I do. And I can unflip.
Can you remember the names?
No.
Oh.
God damn it.
To be fair, I don't use Royals, he does use Royals.
And then you have Root Flare, the second one, which is the neg
I remember the name.
for free. But that was apparently broken.
That's because that was back when only one clan could actually stop it.
That's back before we realised that Plossing's better than negging, which is why negging has a cheaper cost.
Pretty much. But my first stride should be neg a column. Even that wouldn't be broken.
Well, but that's it. That's the whole point. You +1 with the Sword Me. So to neg it, you need to neg 2, which is what that does. But the problem is that's your second stride, and they've done that on grade 2.
And you compare it to other things that like the new Overlord one, which is a restander, or the whole I had that, or swing with a crit or something. But relating what I was going to say a minute ago was when you said they have options, it's entirely based on what we said earlier with perfect guards. If they have a perfect guard, then you wouldn't say no, there's no point. You just go add a damage, or I swing with a big number, and then you're going to perfect guard it anyway. If I get a crit, then you can't grab the
my field power, so there's no point in set no. And if I don't see you have set no, if I don't see a perfect guard, just go into it. I feel like it. And it's just the options, because now even with the new Aqua support stuff, everyone's like, oh, what options do you go? And it's like, is actually anything, generally is anything better than Lambro?
But in terms of the stride unit, you could probably not, but it's more the grade 2 sustainability that it continues to emphasise, which is why it will go back to being a top tier deck. I mean, not many people built it as I did,
shown in Asia,
but in terms of the Maelstrom build, because it wasn't consistent. But yeah, it's grade 2 sustainability, and it's. I think the game, if it's going to continue to be stride focused, then they need to continue to release cards that are not GB, or try and balance it in a way that you can search perfect guards or something to guard them, or else you're not going to be able to keep up with the guard. is the point. So, I mean, moving on, Yuri, I guess.
Well, that moves on to the whole point of the grade 2 sustainability, backing up what we said from watching.
We should probably say summarize at this point before we move on to the next bit. Okay. So the main points we've talked about so far are the fact that stride first, stride strongest.
Yeah.
Grade 2 sustainability to emphasize striding first is striding strongest. And what else have you got written down?
GB focused decks are just vanilla decks until the point where they stride, so it just emphasizes again the point. Perfect guards are ridiculously important, so any way of recruiting them to your hand or anything like that is just emphasizes the power of the deck, which relates to deck thinning, so you might have to find it, and also just that's why I chuck in things like Conroe in the Kagero deck, so you can just search it. Mecha Trainer in Spike's always good. So they need to release more cards like that really to keep up. And depth plussing is in recruiting, where that specifically we're referring to, is better than negging, to the point where the rush is just ridiculous and you can't keep up. Because again, I've always said that guarding needs to be improved, not aggression, because the game's speeding up too quickly and the ability to protect yourself is far too low. Just going, oh, you intercept with this and you get 10k shield. That's not going to stop a stride. There needs to be a card which stops. If they could very easily stop this with releasing a card, for example, of grade 1, which is cool, counterblast, discard or something. If your opponent's attacking with a grade 4 unit, then it's a perfect guard or something. If they attack with a grade 3, then you can't use it. Just a way of stopping the stupidity of the number of grade 4. They need a way of slowing the game down. So, yeah, it's pretty much... some clans are over-supported than others.
Yeah.
The one thing with the guard cards I would say is they need something which isn't just they can guard better. Because the problem with them, you have it out, it's the massive tiger of if it's on the field, I'm going to try and kill it first because it'd be easier to kill it. So you drop them off from hand. But it's also, it's just until you use it for its effect, it's a vanilla 9k. And it's sort of a bit like, maybe make it, it's like an 11k swinger. And then it does this stuff. So it can actually be useful.
I mean, I understand a Legion format though. We did have issues with people stalling to the point where it went to time. And we had issues with, it's just going. It's like, you can't end this game. So I guess they wanted to speed up the game, but they've completely overstepped it with stride. They needed to make some kind of... The fact there is no cost, there's no requirement other than discarding a grade 3 or 1. You emphasised the point before, you might not even have to stride unit of grade 3, so you discard 2. So that's technically an egg of 1, but you should generally find it by the point you're there. So it's not a cost. You're getting that plus back, so you're gaining a stupid effect for no reason. At least Legion, you had to efficiently use it by sending 4 triggers back, and you gain a better effect. It's not necessarily stupid.
As I've said, the only issue I have with stride is the power. If they can get rid of the power and change the rule on it, I'll be happy with it.
But the problem is, if they do that now, all DP strides are pretty much useless.
among others,
true.
But yeah.
But no, it's just because they're reliant on the power. You need to do some serious plussing to them. But moving on to basically what I want to talk about. And I don't care about anyone else. I don't care how this sounds. The player base isn't smart enough at the moment in the game. The knowledge of the game.
You're on your own now, Yuri.
I don't care.
The thing is, me and Aaron so want to back you up on this, so we'll say it here and there, but you can
speak for yourself.
You can. No, you do, Aaron. We'll just let Yuri put his foot in there first, and we'll follow him in when it's safe.
I'll just keep digging my hole, and I don't care. The player base, generally, as a whole, majoritively, doesn't understand the game at the moment. And it was proven in Manchester. It's been proven by, I'm going to say it, I don't care, European continentals, by just some of the plays. I don't care what your excuse is. Some of the plays make no sense. I'm going to drop pretty much my entire hand and hope a retirement deck can't retire them. Oh wait, it can. Oh, I'm going to ride but not stride. Don't why bother riding. And I'm going to play a stall game where literally all you can do is 10k no pass for about 4 turns to me, and all I'm going to do is swing at you and hope. Like that. Like, what is that as logic? in playing. But then you see it in Manchester, all the decks, people were just like, I'm just going to ride. They don't know about Storm Grade 2. They don't know about half the cards' effects because it's not theirs. Fine, you're new to the game. I get that. But at some point, you have to get smarter. The player base has to get smarter. And you have to be able to notice if someone is cheating against you. Because that was a big thing.
About.
Yeah. Because it's easy to get one over on your opponent if they're not paying attention, or even if they are paying attention. It's just they don't. It was proven in the fact that people in Buddy Fight pay more attention. They know things more. They actually look at things. Whereas you see Vanguard, how many times you just think, "Oh, I dropped a card on my hand. I'm going to put it back because I should." But how many times has your opponent just not done like, "What are you doing?" Well, I dropped a card, so I'm putting it back. Oh, okay.
I mean, it relating to, obviously, I apologise for any time we misplay in our games, but that's just a example for us. Because certain things happen that we're not used to, or we just overlook it because we're just trying to have fun with the game or something. I don't know what happens, but when we record, but we don't misplay during.
It's because
just when we record, we seem to occasionally misplay.
I can tell you why. It's because we're talking to each other and trying to make the videos entertaining for you guys. So we're not paying full attention and miss stuff.
It's your fault, you two. But yeah, I mean, so I'll say my bit there, and then only you can say your bit on it. So yeah, what annoys me is again the same thing. It's the whole I ride. There's two things that happen. Either one, the opponent goes, "Oh, you're going to play that game type of thing," and then they argue the point of, the against everything we've said. It's like, it's illogical to do that. You're just ruining the game. Now, say you're ruining the game, saying on grade 2, or you're not playing, like, it doesn't affect me. I don't care. I'm going to ride grade 3 anyway. It's not going to make a difference. It's the stupidity of that which allows players who shouldn't be topping to top in that way, because they're just abusing it by going ride stride. Oh, look, my deck's working. Oh, look, I just get what I want. And yeah, the cheating wise, just make sure you pay attention to your opponent. I mean, just make sure cards in hand, shuffle back. Make sure
if you're great locked, and this is this thing we found out in Paris when we went there for Team League.
We didn't actually find out in Manchester.
We have suspicion in Manchester, but when we were in Paris with Team League, we were like, Mike and Aaron were both grade locked because all their grade 3s are shiny. And when Mike looked at the bottom of his deck, surprisingly enough, pretty much
it was 6 of my 8 grade 3s with dead bottom of the deck in order.
So it's just, if you're grade locked, maybe just like the problem is if you're grade locked, you shouldn't really be shuffling your deck, I guess, in some way. But if you haven't shuffled your deck, just have a look at the bottom of it and then think, hang on a minute.
Or if you're going to G-assist.
Yeah, then you can look.
Yeah, look at the bottom before you do your shuffle, just to check.
I mean, it also relates to even just prior to everything, you could have stopped it. If you think about the way someone's shuffling the deck, clumping it in a kind of, I can't really do an example without showing you on camera, but if you imagine holding your deck in your palm and pulling a section of it away towards yourself and then putting it on top, that's clumping your deck. That is not shuffling it or changing the order very much at all. They need to be doing what would you call it, a fan shuffle?
Yeah.
So just going through...
No, right. The problem is, the opponent, if they do a fan shuffle, that's how they get you. Well, if they just do the clump cut, fine, that's a clump cut. But the fan shuffle, if they do it for, let's say, 3, 4, 5 times, then I would go, hang on a minute, why are you shuffling my deck more than bugging I'm shuffling my deck?
That's the thing. I can argue the point that I do that because my opponent has either done a lack of a shuffle in front of me or something like that. I've not in any way tried to manipulate their deck. I'm just making sure it's shuffled because I don't want them going, oh, I'll just put a 1, 2, 3 trigger, like 1, 2, 3 trigger, just so I maybe find a 1, 2, 3 in my hand, or try and or people look through their deck between rounds and just separate all the cards or the triggers and things, just to make sure it's all nicely shuffled, and then they'll go clump, clump, clump. Okay, that's my shuffle done.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. If I'm going clump, 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 then my opponent has every right to go fan, fan, fan. But if I'm going fan, 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 and then my opponent goes fan, 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 I'm going, why are you? Oh, you've seen me do this.
It's the angle as well, bearing in mind. So if they're shuffling in their left hand and not their right, you can see the bottom of the card. You can see blatantly what the bottom card is.
It's just pay more
Ask how many they're shuffling back, check their hand
The
constantly.
way it should be is you fan shuffle your own deck and your opponent cuts your deck.
Yeah.
Not the other way around.
But you have to do it the other way around if they don't do it.
But it's nice. It's like you. I don't want to make it sound like check everyone you don't know. They could be a cheater, but it's just pay slightly more attention to what's going on, because just in case there may be that one douchebag who is, I don't know, topped worlds in the first year. Turns out he's a cheating guy. That sort of player. You don't know who they are, but just keep an eye out and just make sure, because then otherwise it's not a fun game. If you're there going, I'm grey locked, well, this was fun. My opponent's like, I win all my games. Well, it's because you grey lock everyone.
It's also, obviously it's a game to have fun with, so in no way what we've seen before as well is gloat about the winning and things and try and push. I mean, we advise, but don't just be all kind of like, I don't know, Darren, try and phrase it better than I will.
You can say, I won, it was a good day, I had good games. One post or done. But then to have like 3, 4, 5 of how awesome I am, how amazing it all was, how this is so good players up here, blah, blah, blah.
It's equal competition, I've never seen such good competition.
Yeah. It's like,
you're milking it and you're without a basis to base it on and no evidential proof, it's an unfactual kind of unmeaningful post that just comes across.
And also, no one likes having things rubbed in their face.
Pretty much.
It's like, you won, congratulations. Oh wait, why are you telling me you won again? And why are you telling me you won again? Wait, I don't really care anymore.
And in my experience in Manchester, please respect your opponent. In no way disrespect them by not shaking their hand or,
just saying you're not going to leave and then leaving.
And then leaving, yeah.
You're bringing back bad memories, guys.
I know bad memories, but it is a point to make. I'm not going to dwell on it. It's just the point that I've had opponents that haven't shaken my hand or haven't really cared or anything about anything. It's just gone, okay, just judge because, yeah. It's just, I tend to try these days, try and at least, afterwards just sit down and afterwards just talk to them or something. Just to,
no, I try and do that.
Because it's a community we're in. We're not, it's not hardcore competition. It's a community. We want to talk to each other about the game. We want to enjoy the game together. It's
qualifying for Continental is this hardcore competition.
Yeah, somewhat
to an extent.
But it's not Yuri if it's there is no second round, which only happens when we win. That's not really hardcore competition.
Are we talking about Team League?
Yeah. But it's good. Don't worry, Aaron. We have to do it again this year.
Yeah, because it's the second round this year. Afterwards,
Yeah.
We won't win, but
we'll come like third. Top 2.
It's every time.
Except Yuri did
one spot off. Yuri's the only one that's made it.
Tell us what it's like, Yuri. Is it as good as I hear?
It's just consistency, that's what it was.
Yeah, that's again is another point. Consistency. It's consistent decks. Decks that require a certain setup, or decks that just, I don't know, they just drop the card and it wins.
Probably, I don't know. But at the end of the day, it doesn't, like, to sum up just the game, yeah, you build your deck how you want to build your deck. Like, technically, as we've proven by any result, there is no right and wrong way to build a deck. Any deck can win the game. But you can push the luck and the chance of winning in your favour by trying to do some of these things, like stay on, like what grade 2 pressure can you get to try and force your opponent to strike?
So I need to go back to Mike's point on that people say, oh, you're just ruining the game, oh, you're one of those guys. Well, I need to break it to you, that's just what the game's like at the moment. Like it or not, whoever strides first wins most of the time.
Because they access that second stride and it's, oh look, I've got a restand or I've got
so just because you don't like it or it's made because you lose because of it, don't be an arse about it. Like, at the end of the day, it's just what the game is at the moment.
So all you're doing is helping the people that think in that way progress, if anything. So by doing that, it's going, oh look, I don't believe that. And it's like, well done, where did you come?
Yeah.
You might get the occasional person who goes, well, I did really well, but how lucky were you? Like, you must have been really lucky for them not to get a trigger in those 3 drive checks. Because the majority of the time, believe it or not, it's that 3rd drive check which gets the trigger.
But it's the whole, like, it's related to other card games, which a lot of Vanguard players have played, is how what did you ever say to your opponent you're ruining the game when they went set 1, set 5? For Yu-Gi-Oh! As an example. Did you ever say you're ruining the game by having a counter to everything I do? No, you just went, that's the game, that's the format, you play to what it is. And you just have to adapt to the situation. The games evolve, and the more you play, the more the community plays, the more it will evolve and adapt. So yeah, the 10k stay on grade 2 may be prominent for a while, and then it may be, actually, if you just go ride, stride, my deck can't do anything, so I've got to go more to generation break stuff. And then, so you just get that sort of evolution of meta.
I think it would help if Bushiroad actually did more events.
I was going to say that.
Rather than just Team League once a year and then Nationals once a year.
But
I'm actually hoping...
Bushiroad, or is it just other people? So say with...
I think it's Bushiroad.
No, but like the French community organised that, like France and almost
French circuit.
And also the French
Yeah.
like Benelux area, so they've got like 3-4 different countries in it, and they sort of go round the whole everywhere.
Yeah, okay.
So it's that
that's
sort of, even the community base can start making tournaments to get a meta going. Even in Japan, they have so many just tournaments organised, so you see metas evolve.
So more competitive play, so they can get
You
people
get
to
more
this,
experience.
get more experience and get to this point of understanding the game.
Honestly, what I'm hoping is that...
If you're just playing with your mates all the time, you're not gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem we have.
Yeah,
And I'll admit it, because...
because obviously we all think in the same kind of way because we discuss it to the point where we agree, and then we all play in that same way. And playing against an opponent who doesn't play like that is different for us.
That's why it's quite shocking for us in Manchester when we see people riding. It's like, what are you doing?
What, stop that. It's like, I can win, like, really easily, stop it.
But also, it comes down to, we play each other, so we sort of know how to counter each other's decks.
Yeah, that too.
So if you play your mate in Manchester and they know how to counter you, instead of going, I don't know what to do, I'll just normally ride here. Well, we've tested, so you know you need to stay on grade 2, and we have this grade 2 fight. And it's that sort of annoyance of, you wouldn't know this if I wasn't basically to play testing against you all the time. If it was just we go to our locals, we might play each other once or twice. And I know you're always going to play test against your mates sometimes. But if you can go to a regular locals or a regular like big tournament, you just learn more about the game than just your two sort of mindsets and how the game should be. It opens your eyes, and you see a lot of weird decks, but like you may be able to steal some nice ideas from them.
I am hoping that Cardfight Online might actually fix that as well. Because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're planning to do events with it, so that will also add to the experience pile for a lot of players.
Yeah, no, obviously, yeah, because they don't need access to the cards because they're there as well. So you can even playtest a better way like that, because obviously the current area thing is very...
It's iffy, and also finding a game. Like I guess I assume online it would be similar to a point of I search for a match, I found one, as opposed to walk over to someone. Hi, I'm looking for a game. Someone would whisper me or walk over to me and circle me a bit, so I know you want to challenge me to a game. Because if you just sit in there, sometimes you get challenged, but sometimes you sit there for like 10, 20 minutes and no one's clicked anything because they just assume you're AFK or something.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting, man.
We've done to challenge me.
Waiting by my tree.
Also,
or in your tree.
Also, the shuffling mechanic on the arena is horrific.
Yeah.
So that's where it needs to be fixed by online. So you can actually play test against. It's just
It'll still be really nice when that comes out.
It's just just other people, like playing other people, seeing other decks, and maybe seeing. So you'll probably face a lot of. You use GB a lot. Well, this actually is good against it, and it works when I've got Stride as well.
I guess it's sort of... I've always been... I only like playing what's currently out. So the only thing I'm iffy with it is I don't want to be playing things that aren't out yet because it doesn't help me. Because we're behind still. So when it comes to going to a tournament, I'm like, what practice against this bloody...
No, Cardfight Online will just have English stuff.
Same that's come out. it's not out for another X amount of months. And it keeps destroying me.
Online will only have, because it will be a world thing, will only have the English cards out. So there'll be an update for when a new set comes out, maybe a bit before.
Will it?
Yeah, they've already stated that.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Right, that aside, we're like...
Yeah, we're just having a normal discussion now.
So points we've made is how we went from Legion to Stride and the kind of impact it's made.
Well, through this.
Yeah, I know, I'm just summarising.
Summarising the summarise.
Summarize the summarize.
You talked about PGs, you talked about over-supported decks and the kind of pressure that some clans have compared to others.
GG focus, perfect guards.
The amount of experience
negging.
people have in the community, which isn't a lot, sadly.
Well, it might be. It's just people don't play in the same way, and it just seems
Tournament experience is my point.
Okay.
It must have, it's because there must have been a reason why Shadows was one of the most used clans, and yet I only saw one, and that was my mate. Like the entire day.
So
Either they all kicked each other out, or they just picked up a trial deck, walked in, and said, "I've got 2 games. I'm off."
I saw one.
I might saw one as well.
It was the guy who guarded the blaster duck.
With the blaster that was the best story ever. Loved it.
I guess it's the problem is it's the problem of it's an easier way. I buy a trial deck. It's cheaper to get access to play Expo. That's all it is. You just see a lot of people use it as.
Unfortunate bit, but
I think
you can't fix that. That's
a couple of things Bishop need to do is probably get some sort of payment for these tournaments.
But are they even able to do it? I've heard somewhere that they can't.
Yeah, I think they have a rule or something, but it would be nice because then you could have a bit better price support rather than just
Here's a certificate.
Yeah.
No, because there's a price support, fair pay to it. You get trips to like other countries, and if you top, you get trips. Granted, if you top it all, you just got a trip to Japan.
I get it, but I would still like to see that more, like, just comparing it to other games, basically.
Well, either more tournaments or better.
I'd rather see it that like they have some sort of small fee and then they can hold more tournaments because of it.
So obviously,
I still like the fact they go to do this all for us. And they give us Team League and normal nationals.
But then that's
year.
why the community, they will back community-based leagues and tournaments. They will go, you get our seal of approval, but we aren't. But we're
doing
not
anything.
Yeah, we're not doing it for you. We're not giving you anything for it. You've done it all. You've got basically said it's £5 entry. This is the prize. Hope for the best.
Well, regardless, that aside, I think they also need to look at the game because there is blatantly problems with Stride, and they need to sort it out one way or another.
But all they're doing is just increasing more Stride and supporting sub clans and break rides. Apparently,
And that's just vice selection.
Oh, okay. So,
I don't have a problem with them supporting subclans at all.
I do. Why pick Seal Dragons? They're terrible. It's like of all the bloody clans.
So you got like 3 or 4. It's kind of hard. They just chose
Do
one.
petitions. I don't have with petitions. It's an example there, but yeah, they're just supporting subclans in the same way. They're not. It's just emphasising the limitation of deck building, if anything, or just helping. I don't know, topping clans with bloody Jewel Knights who are already topping, but making them more consistent with more Jewel Knights. So well done. Do you understand meta?
It's the point of they're bringing more. It's bringing more things to the front by giving all the support.
At the end of the day,
it's trying to give more options.
Yeah.
But the meta's always going to be, and it's in every game, everything. The strongest thing will be sort of gravitated towards because it's the strongest. Regardless of what you say it is, people will always go to what is topping generically. True. And that's the thing. So yes, we have all this support, and it's trying to bring your sub-clans up. So it's basically, so when you go to your locals, you have a different deck maybe each time, a different build each time.
Doesn't emphasise our point a little bit as well, because until recently it was always majority wins. But this year, it should have been Shadows, but it's not.
No, that's because
other decks...
That's because even when I looked around on top tables, there were no Shadows. They either knocked themselves out, or it's just, again, I buy a trial deck to enter a tournament.
Bear in mind, this is just for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Majority
as
wins
UK,
elsewhere.
because we had our tournament after set 4. If you look at before that, Shadows Royals, maybe a few Nova here and there or something.
It was majority of it Shadow Royals, Shadow Royals, Shadow Royals, Shadow Royals.
Yeah.
I think Nova was the one after that, maybe DP or whatever. But come set 4, you had Mega Colony in the mix, which is fun.
I actually like Mega Colony. I hate playing against it, but it's nice that there was a counter somewhat to Stride. Somewhat.
You didn't play it at a tournament. It feels
I did.
dirty.
I didn't play at all. Got played against it, and going back to your point, the guy just rubbed it in my face. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I stop your Vanguard standing? I'm sorry. That's what the deck's meant to do. It's just like, just I draw, I can't write, you go, I'm just sitting there, like, yeah, whatever, do your thing, I'm done.
I didn't rub it in anyone's face because it was just, I think they saw it on my face of, like, you feel disgusted about it? I was just like, this isn't fun. Like, people found one grade 3 their entire game. I was just like...
But again, that goes back to playing against each other a lot, because we know, we tested in Vanguard Colony so much, we made sure we have an out if we go against it, because we knew it would be relatively prevalent. Because it is somewhat of a counter to Stride, because you have to have grade 3. And people,
it is a counter to Stride.
And again, it's a stupidity. How many times did someone against you go, I write grade 3, discard grade 3 to Stride? It's like, you needed that. Why would you discard it? I would discard grade 2 and 1 to keep 3.
That's again going down to the experience thing, and no one's played against it. Mainly because it's new, but no one's played against it.
Also, who actually has... But it comes back to the whole, who has the old support? The machining 10k one was only in a stupid mini comic booster one.
The first
which
extra
only
booster.
5 people actually ever bought. Because there was nothing in it. It's like, what has this got? It's got a bug stuff.
That Riser.
Bugs and Rise. Oh my god.
Royal Paladins as well.
That's still sitting in there. I always wanted to use it. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, but it's to your point again, Yuri. Just a little triangle of passing the thing here. You said that it's based on who you go against and the experience. You know, you went against Ricky. Ricky was going against you like...
That's it. He knew what he was doing.
You played him twice and he got absolutely raped by Vanguard. He was like, I do not... He was like, what the hell? He had no idea. He just took left side. But as soon as he went, oh, I know how to beat it now. So he started playing like differently, and then he won every time because he knew how to counter it. It's not knowing it's there, and it's just like, oh god. But yeah, it's pretty much everything as far as I'm aware.
We're going around in circles now.
So this is what I'm trying to summarize. As we do. So I'm trying to summarize it. So yeah, without going through all the points again for a third time. Yeah. So, but if you could summarize the game in one line, Yuri.
Unbalanced.
Okay, so Aaron's going with unbalanced. You're going
Online doesn't matter what you run, it seems.
Doesn't matter when it seems.
There was a comma there, by the way. It doesn't matter what you run, comma, it seems.
Pause for effect.
Pause for effect.
Yeah, pause for effect. Not sure what I'd go with. Just
Kagura OP.
I wish. Royal FE. I'll just go with grade 2 sustaining Stride OP. I'll put a comma in there somewhere as well. I'll put a full stop.
Yeah, Stride is OP, I'll give you that, but at the same time, some legions are viable.
Break Ride Legion.
Break Ride Legion, fair enough, but you're still
No.
The whole point of...
Break Ride or not, it's still a restander.
Why is it prevalent? Because you go Break Ride... You
Yggdrasil.
go, I ride the Break Ride, Stride. Okay, I'm on 4. Break Ride. That's why it's good, because of Stride.
Yeah, my point. It's not my point I'm trying to get at. Like, Stride is a good like mid-game thing. There's not many decent Stride finishers.
It's an end-game thing I'm about to point out as well.
The only decent Stride finishers that are out there are your Nova one.
What?
It's a restander.
Yeah.
It's a Stride.
Victor
Plasma.
No.
No.
Royals have like 4.
Saint No to an extent. It's still a mid-game card.
Everyone has a finisher, don't just specify
It's the second Stride finisher. Let's go.
They don't. Angles don't.
You heal, you prolong it.
Please drag it out. You make our finishers.
Golds
not
don't.
finishers. Golds have had nothing, and they are rubbish.
Diablo.
soon as
Shadows don't with
soon as they
Diablo
do,
unless your opponent's an idiot.
No, it's not. It's still I swing with a crit. It's still
that's-
Saint No. You was the
Yeah,
point.
but I don't class them as finishers. They're like
Massive number in a crit, Yuri. I wish I
if
had
you're on
that.
5 damage, the number in a crit doesn't make a difference.
Doesn't mean you can't heal.
You have a dream, right? It's a dream where we have good strides.
God damn
And
it.
Aaron's one's a band.
Stride. No, because I see the
Saying
stride.
Aaron's decks are bad, that's never going to happen.
Striding is the mid-game point where it's just stupid power. You can't do much against it. I'm going to rack up the damage and then finish you with big
If you
effect.
play it properly, it's an end-game point. Boom!
I just forget it. You're not listening.
No, I'm telling. So yes. Can we finish?
No.
No? You got anything you guys more to say?
You're not going to listen, so no.
Go on then. Go on.
No, it's fine. Done. We're done.
I get what you're saying, but it's you know it. Said no finishes games. Lambert.
Yeah, it finishes it earlier than it should do. if they don't have the perfect guard. Lambroke is a finisher because it's bloody 5-6 attacks on plus 10k.
But
How are you going to guard all this?
Aaron, the point is, Lambroke is countered by if they have no field. Sentinel is countered by if you have a perfect guard. Fine. Next turn, do you have that perfect guard? No.
Then you win. Because it's
Like,
Or-
you should have one finisher, and that should finish the game. Is my point.
Or I put you to 5.
But you're thinking way back when, yes, we did have a concept of winning. I don't know, like, I think the prime example would be, what is it, Platinum herself. I damage out if needs be, Counterblast 3, I win this turn! You can't guard this field.
I know, but the concept is still there. There are just games that there are cards and strides like Saint Knowns, like Diablo, that can push it to an earlier state. Hence, it has the fucking crit.
Which is what's ruining the game, in a way. And
But I wouldn't class them as finishers. They're like just the pressure cards to kind of force it to an late end game situation.
Yeah, but
Lambroke's still a finisher because it's just dumb.
But then it's
I
stride.
don't even get there.
Your Great Nature one's just dumb.
But you realise in Aquas, the way I play it and things, if you look at the breakdown and things, the way I say I'm playing it, it ends on the first stride. Because if you're playing the Grade 2 game, then I'm just going to go, okay, rise stride, and then I win this turn. If you don't, then I win on Lambroke, sure. Because I go rise stride, then stride for game.
But that's my point. Usually when you Lambroke, you win. Most of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Unless your opponent misplays.
True.
Novas, again, with your restanding one.
Or heals like an absolute...
To an extent, the ace as well.
Yeah.
Ace in the hole.
Restanders will always win games, in a way. Because it's
I know I'm just picking on restanders, but yeah.
At the most you'll get is crit for game. The least you'll get is crit for game, sorry. Because if you're on 4 and you go, I only have one perfect guard, it's like, no guard? Perfect guard. Don't you get the crit in the second 2? That's all you can do.
There are exceptions, like Metal Walk, because it's not just a finisher, it's also just your game plan. Can plus 2 attack, you can't guard. Can plus 2 attack, you can't guard.
Then you don't.
And I'm done.
Unless you healed. That's just a metal problem.
So,
Are we allowed to finish?
Yeah, I'm just saying, I want to get my point in before I forgot it again.
sure. Okay, so thank you guys for listening. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Any other opinions that we've missed or you'd like to highlight or anything like that, just leave a comment. Hopefully we'll get back to you or the community will discuss it. And of course we've got the Facebook that's been continuously going that we've created. Either head to our old one, you'll be redirected accordingly, or if you just search Team Endgame and ideally you'll find it.
You search Team Endgame, you'll get both.
You'll get both.
It's the one with the less members in it.
At the moment. At the moment. On there we're doing...
I spam a lot of stuff.
Yeah, on there there's been a lot of spamming of new cards. We've been discussing things. We're even doing our first giveaway via Ricky at the moment, which is an SP Bermuda card, which I wouldn't like, but alright. It's just the most sought after SPs, so he thought he might as well go for that.
I guess, I don't know. He's just doing it on his own.
He's doing his own thing. So,
Manager, he's allowed to do what he wants.
no evidence of this.
Back, Ricky.
No, not going back.
I got he's a manager.
No, all he's done is just segue his way in. Just, hi guys. Hey Ricky, I'm the manager. You're what? Oh.
No joke, that's literally how it happened.
So yes, and with that, that is that. So we'll see you guys later.